Good morning, everybody. Wow, that's strong. We will start with a short presentation about some security trends, about what we see in the industry and what leads our agenda and development. I hope my English will be easy to understand for most of you. For me, it's not so much so. So I will start. What we have done, we took hundreds of reports from 2018 and 2019 from almost every company we could find, Gartner and Deloitte, and we just summarized some pieces of information that can be interesting to see what has been done in last year, 2018, and what these reports are pointing to this year, to the next year. Last year, as you can see, cyber attack came for place from a business disruption. So when companies were reporting what was the biggest problem in their business, they claimed that still troubleshooting problems like bugs and problems in the network was more critical than cyber attack. But still, it is in a very, very high place. Lack of talent, number 3, from this year. One of the reasons, Alexei just spoke about the cyber training or cyber combat we have done yesterday. Skill and skill management or improving employee skills is still one of the highest concerns of organization. As we move into cloud, as we move into more mobile devices and bring your own device to the company and other technology challenges, how do we make sure that the employees know how to use safely and professionally all the equipment? So this is what the same guys, this is coming from BCI, the same guys claim that this year cyber attack is going to go up the ladder and become more important. Now, this is all what they expect. You know, it doesn't mean that this is what's going to be, because if you see like skill and talent move to 7th place, assumingly people already been educated, last year. Otherwise, how can it move so far? For me, that's kind of hard to believe that between last year and this year, skill and talent was improved so much, so it went down to 7th place from a concern point of view. So last year, most of the attacks or the biggest targeted companies for cyber attack, retail, first of all. Retail are companies that are selling products like Amazon and any online company. Finance, banking, hospitality. Now, I was quite amazed that you can't really see here government and military, because usually these guys are also under heavy pressure, but at least in this list, they are out of it. And what is the motivation? Why people are attacking, or what motivates people to generate and run attacks? Number 1 is ransom, so money. Number 2 is inside threat. Political is very common, like in my country next week there is the election, and you can't even imagine how many spam emails and how many attacks are being done to collect data about the opposite party, so we can use it to send nasty messages or whatever. Some of the transformation from the latest trends. This is, as you can see, most of them are about the same. So these are kind of the top. Moving to the cloud is still a big deal. A lot of companies are slowly moving to the cloud or migrating 50-50 between local data center and public, and how to manage it. Artificial intelligence, or the AI and ML, is becoming a bigger deal. And of course, Internet of Things is an example. IoT, 15 years ago, unless you are a manufacturing factory, nobody really cared about IoT. Now IoT is getting very close to the IT world. even mechanism to open doors in the office are now controlled by the Wi-Fi network and connected to my IT department. So everything is done by a single network, and it becomes a bigger opportunity for attacks and for cyber risk. As for the cloud, DTEX claim that 96% of all enterprises are today already somewhere in the cloud, and 77% are still struggling to build, to understand the cloud security, how to protect the cloud, what kind of security they are getting. One of the challenges when you go to public cloud, you are counting on Amazon or Azure or someone else to deliver your security plan. So if there is a problem, yes, you can blame them, but are you happy that there was a problem? So this is still a struggle, how to kind of manage the security profile of your company when you hand it over to a third-party company. So a little bit from the budget side. According to Forrester, as you can see, the one between, on the left, budget spent on security. Out of the, let's say if you have a $1 million budget for IT, how much money is allocated for the security team? If you can see in bold, most of the companies are between 10 to 20% investment directed to the security team. There are situations where you have more or less, but the average today is between 10 to 20% of every IT budget, and you can see different industries on top, manufacturing, retail, utility, and so on. Still, the average or the normal, and this is a worldwide survey, Europe and US and so on, still most of the investment is between 10 to 20%. The next one shows, okay, I already got my budget, how do I split it? Where my investment goes from various point of view. We saw that today the transition is increasing budget on services, like 17 budget on services was 48%, 18 is 51, and according to the surveys, it's expected to grow. Companies are spending more money on services, which mean on people, rather than on products. Education, processes, behavior become critical, but versus just buying more and more products to protect. Because unfortunately, a lot of the cyber risk is coming from the human beings' behavior and not from trying to improve constantly the security product protection. So cyber budget allocation from a different point of view, like where the money actually goes or what motivates me to spend. I assume a lot of you heard about GDPR. I don't know if GDPR is related to Ukraine too much, but GDPR is a standard for the European Union, how a company should maintain, should protect their customer data. Okay? So there is still a lot of investment on awareness, which is the first one. And awareness, again, it's part of what we have done yesterday, like improving skills and teaching people how to operate. And the second one is the GDPR is regulation. GDPR is just one sample regulation. But regulation as an idea, as a concept, is still driving a lot of investment because you have no choice as a company. You need to follow the government rules. So 2019. So awareness is still high. Threat intelligence, I mean, everybody, or almost in every event I'm participating, people are talking about machine learning, AI, artificial intelligence, like all the brand new buzzwords. So threat intelligence and cloud security, all of them are kind of technologies that are based, like cloud security, again, is based on in a lot of cases, on a third-party company providing it. Threat intelligence is how do I know to analyze the data. Some companies can see like 10,000 events a day. How do I actually manage it? How do I know what to do? And this is where artificial intelligence and machine learning can help. So it reduces the amount of actual manual analysis, manual work we need to do. So some strategic. What are the top strategies from surveys that IT departments have mentioned they're going to do this year? So application security is the top. How do I make sure that my applications are secured? Because at the end of the day, I don't need to protect my network. I need to protect my end application. When I'm deploying a firewall, I do it because I want to protect my server, my application. So application is still the top priority. Mobile security, because so many people are using the mobile devices as a way to communicate to even to the company data center. Cloud-based solution, which is always, again, coming up again and again. Automation is really becoming key because there are so many machines and systems in my organization, in my topology. We see more and more organizations. This is actually started from the carrier business, from the service provider. How can I automate my procedures and processes? Definitely in a cloud environment, it's easier to automate, to deploy and destroy, to scale up and scale down new services. Even us as a company now requested by our customer all the time, how can we integrate our solutions into an automated processes, into an automatic deployment, automatic provision, and other activities. So some high-level analysis. Again, these numbers are coming from different reports and different point of view. It's not like I will always say I totally agree because that's only it's like black and white. There can be other side, like one company can say this is the ratio, and another company might see a different one. It all depends who they interview and in which location. But still, at the high level, they give some numbers about what are the inside threats that been the top last year. 23 malicious and compromising the organization 13%. So this is how they see the split. And as you can see, the middle one is when people actually not behaving properly, like neglection, people just ignore the company policy or sending an email with unnecessary information and creating just by behavior a security risk. So the top enterprise threat can be cloud storage. If I put any information on the cloud, who can access it and why? Personal email usage. I mean, most of the employees are using their business laptop also to use Google or Yahoo or any private mail. That can be a big risk because by mistake you can send a presentation, as an example, from the wrong email account without even noticing it. USB is still a big deal. People don't always aware of just by sharing a file on a USB memory stick with a friend, and the USB got infected, and then they bring it home. So the attacks that been seen by some companies on last year, the top one, still malware and botnets are still the best tool to generate attacks. Social engineering like phishing through Facebook and other media by first of all trying either to use different phishing techniques or by just trying to mimic, trying to hide behind someone else's identity, like hijacking identities and using it to extract data. Denial of service is still big. Even so, denial of service is not a real dangerous attack, but it is slowing down your business from operating. I mean, denial of service will not steal any data from your company, but if someone is sending denial of service to your door, it means that your company cannot work until it ends. So it's still creating some damage. So, the last piece of this presentation. So the top 10 trends that we see that are really evolving from a technology point of view. First of all, I know that cloud is a very old term right now, but still companies are moving to the cloud, and as part of the move, they see some challenges. 5G and IoT. 5G and IoT becomes a very big deal. We have a lot of companies across EMEA today, across Europe, working with us on either developing the 5G or doing like trial outs, trying how 5G can improve even their enterprise behavior, because 5G can support many more endpoints. Like manufacturing companies can now connect all the machineries instead of to the Wi-Fi. They can utilize 5G endpoints for multiple IoT. AI and ML, or artificial intelligence and machine learning. Now, these trends are not necessarily security. These are technology trends. Security is part of the challenge of this new technology. Like when I deploy a 5G network, I might have some security challenge which is connected to the new technology. Automotive, this is a very, very cool trend. We are deeply involved in this industry. Germany in Europe is the leader of this transition, moving to autonomous driving, because autonomous driving, that's the first time the car is actually becoming a computer. You know, like the engine and all the mechanical elements are not important anymore. The risk and the technology is all software. Of course, everything becoming encrypted, and everything becomes a service. So I'm not talking about, again, your private data center, but once you push data to the cloud, everything is priced as a service, everything is handled as a service, and that's a state of mind, a change in state of mind. So as an example, public cloud. The drivers are pretty common and very well known, but the challenge, as an example, if I move to the cloud and I have a problem, what is the troubleshooting process? When my cloud, let's say I'm a retail company, I do my online sales from the cloud, and year by year I'm getting more and more customers. I saw some retail companies that they go to a certain point where they grow to such a size, the services, the services cost which they were paying became more expensive than they could ever imagine. Like some companies, I knew that they started to pay more than $1 million a month for the services they got from Amazon, just to be able to sell through Amazon. So there are some, how you say, balance points that are not easy to manage. And also, if I am not the one who, I'm not owning Amazon, I just use Amazon. So how can I make sure that my customer is happy with the user experience and other stuff? Not that I'm complaining about Amazon. Amazon are great. Just use it as an example. It can be any cloud provider. In most countries in Europe, actually some cloud providers are the local service providers. And then I need to get from them the information. And of course, security policy. Should I count on my cloud provider? Should I build my own? How can I validate that the security policies they provided is actually doing the right job for me? 5G, some of the challenges already started today on 4G and 3G. Oops. Like roaming. Today people are traveling a lot more than they used to. You know, flying all around, and whenever you go to a foreign country, you are connected back to the local operator through a roaming interface. So you are sending data from, I don't know, let's say from France to Kiev, over a roaming interface between Orange and Kyivstar. Now, this roaming interface is a big problem, or it's a backdoor entry for attackers to be able to send data into your local network, because you don't really have any authority on the foreign service provider in the other country. IoT also becomes a big issue, because the expectation is that almost every car, every camera in the city, a lot of devices will be connected through the 5G to provide data. So there are going to be a lot of IoT endpoints through the 5G, and I need to have a lot of, we need to build a security infrastructure to make sure that this is all done according to the policy that's been deployed. And the nice piece is the third one. When we go to events, to service provider events, the discussion today is that service providers are becoming more like software provider companies, are not anymore like just, the normal old school phone. Now, most of the money service providers are making is from the software solutions they are selling. And software solutions need to be protected, which is an opportunity or requiring security solutions. Oh, I moved back. AI and machine learning. I didn't put a lot here, but I don't know how many have seen a few weeks ago in Ethiopia a Boeing 737 crashed. And what was the reason? The automatic stalling system decided that the plane is in stalling mode, so it just automatically forced the back wing to push the aircraft down until it crashed. So it was just a human bug on an artificial intelligence machine. So the airplane took an automatic decision, which was wrong, and crashed the machine, which means that even so we like to use AI and machine learning, eventually they might one day do the best decision for me and way quicker and with less human error problems, but we are the one who developing the AI. And we are still building bugs, unfortunately, from time to time. We are still writing some bugs in the code. So regardless any AI or ML or any artificial intelligence security device that we would like to use, we always need to pay attention to human error and human bugs within the code that can unfortunately end up in the wrong place. SSL and encryption, this is a big problem to the government. If all the traffic across Ukraine today is based on SSL and other encryption mechanism, lawful interception. Lawful interception is the way of the government to probe and listen to any communication so they can see if people are doing terrorism activity or malicious or anything that against the political situation of the country. Like in China, it's very normal to intercept people to see if they are following or not following the government rules. By encrypting everything, then challenging of how to monitor, how to troubleshoot, and so on becomes more critical. But from an operational side, even performance, when I'm encrypting the data, performance can impact the way I manage to deliver the right service to my customer. Now, the last few slides is just to go again through the cyber range or the skill, because it was really stand out when we went through a lot of reports that one of the places that companies are really investing money is on improving skills. Even the GDPR in Europe, one of the things that it's really, really asking to is to spend time to educate any employee, not just a security team, but any employee, how to work with data, how to manage data, how to work with data, how to make sure that you know how to operate and behave so you're not creating any security risk to your company. So what we have done yesterday, by the way, it was kind of this type of topology. We simulated green team which sends normal organization data, like people are sending emails, browsing the internet, accessing the Salesforce, or accessing some databases with information from the company. While they do it all the time, unfortunately, there are some people, the red team, who are sending attacks. The attacks can be of any type. And then we have the blue team, which simulate the organization IT department, the security department, trying to recognize the attacks out of the total traffic. And the most important is that we are trying to create a very realistic topology in the middle. So the blue team almost operate during the active training as they were in the actual organization, similar to how it would be in your company. So cyber range is very, very basic concept of building a realistic condition similar to your production network, where you can educate people how to create an attack, or how to find an attack, red and blue. Now, we really believe that in order for you to properly detect and block and be efficient as a security expert, you should also know how to create an attack. If you know how to create an attack and you are moving a little bit into this side of the game, if you are becoming not 100%, but a little bit of knowledge about hacking, then your ability to build the proper security policy is improved. And this is why when we do this gaming, or when CyberRange is introduced, it's not only to teach how to configure a firewall, it's also to teach how you actually build an attack and send it, because now you understand the state of mind of your opponent, of your other side. So it helps you upfront to know what to do in a better way. There are several different ways of doing this training. Of course, you have the university style, sitting in a room, going through lectures. Then the second one is after you have finished the lecture, we build a lab where people can practice what they have just learned in class and see in reality what does it mean, like touch and feel. Exam is also the third layer of the same. So we finish the seminar, you finish the lab exercise, now we just want to test your knowledge to see what is the skills that you have managed to accomplish. And the last one is what we have done yesterday, is testing your skills in a battle environment where multiple teams are all utilizing the same setup, the same environment, and checking how good they are and how they can evolve and what kind of attack or they can either identify or can generate, so we can use it not only as a fun day, of course, but also really make sure that people are getting out of this day with some new value, some new knowledge, just because they saw how other teams are behaving and how they are standing in front of the situation. So that is what our concept here. If we like to improve, of course, we are working on operational network in our company, but we can't do try and error on production network. It's too risky. We can affect our employees. So this is exactly where we can deliver the environment to play. We were using, like yesterday, we were using multiple companies to set up the topology. So Ixia, our company, were generating the traffic, which we'll discuss later today, while we were using Palo Alto as a firewall, VMware as the compute cloud, F5 for security and proxy, Allen Vault to collect all the data, Flowmon to collect flow data, and to be able to have multiple tools where if you are a real security engineer, you get a very similar topology to what you'll have in your organization. So that was the first part, just to show you a little bit what we perceive. Again, I didn't put any summary here, but we do think that the continuation of cloud migration, 5G, and everything that relates to 5G, and of course, automotive industry, which is, by the way, another piece of the 5G IoT. This is what we see as the major trends. When it comes to the enterprise, of course, is the encryption problem, is the cloud problems, and all the regulation like GDPR, all the new regulation that's coming in, which is driving our business and motivate us for the next generation development. So thank you. That's the first one.
Maybe someone have some questions to Nimrod concerning this first presentation? Okay, then Nimrod, it was quite general. So let's move on.
Mm-hmm.